Okay, I think I'm on. Let's just have a little check here. Um, I always do these things impromptu, so it's never something that I plan in advance. But I have another window open if anybody is by with comments, or the Q&A section thing is open there too. So we'll see what happens. It's just a quick video. I just felt like chatting about a couple things. We were going to look at a couple of books I got, say a few words about the very minimal amount that I've read so far. Talk about a couple of shows I've been addicted to lately. So I guess I'll start off. I'll start off with that. So in the back of Ed Brubaker's Criminal, and he did it at first with Fatale, and I mean he still does it in Fatale. It's just kind of in his write-ups on things. Just talks about things like what he's into TV-wise, what he feels is quality, and then he used to have articles about movies, especially in Criminal, about like the crime genre specifically. And I've just the other day discovered the joys of torrenting a couple of things. I'm not crazy about torrenting. It's not that I disagree with it. I'm not crazy about it because when I've tried it in the past, I found there was so much hassle with spending the time to download something and then opening it to find A, it either doesn't work and you need some kind of codec to open it, B, the audio doesn't work, C, it's not what it was listed as, D, it's all glitchy and doesn't work, the file is corrupt, that sort of thing. So that usually kind of stops me from going any further on it. But I'm trying it again. So I usually try it for a little bit, and then I give up because it's just too frustrating, and I just can't be bothered, especially with the time it takes. And usually I have pretty good luck with finding movies on my own, whether that's like to buy in some of the used shops or in like even places like HMV or whatever. Sometimes I'm lucky there. And then of course when we had all our video rental places, it was easy to find stuff at like a Movie Village. But now that all those places most of them have shut down, Movie Village is still there, but their stock is a lot more minimal. It's harder and harder to find stuff. The good thing about people going purely digital and downloading movies and things is, especially the one used DVD place that I end up going to, their stockpile is grown an enormous amount, and the quality of stuff that's coming through is really, really impressive because people are just getting rid of things, right? So, but there's still those items that I can't find. For example, one that I just found yesterday, boy, I hope I'm saying this the right name, Peter Yates, who did Bullet. Before he did Bullet, he did a movie called Robbery. I think it was 1967. And apparently that's the movie that Steve McQueen saw and said, "Hey, I want this guy to direct a movie for me." And then they went and did Bullet together. So I've been looking for a long time for that. I haven't been able to find anything to buy. Again, it's rare that I buy movies online. I do it sometimes, but it's pretty rare. I like to, same thing with comics, I like to go for the hunt. I like to hunt around town and various shops and things and hope that I get lucky with finding something. But so I found that one the other day, which is pretty fantastic. I haven't watched it yet. I bought for my dad one year Cracker, the English show Cracker with Robbie Coltrane. I can't remember what series I bought him. I think it was 2. I think it was season number 2. So I found the first season of that because I ended up borrowing it from him later on, like a year later, just to check it out, and was highly, highly impressed with it. I really, really liked it. And I think that was something that Brubaker had talked about in his comics as well, Cracker. Charlie Varick, the Brinks Job, I think, was another one. Variety of things. So I've been looking for all these. I have a list on my phone, so I've been looking for a lot of these movies and have been pretty successful in finding them. The one that has been blowing us away, the TV series, both me and Special Sexy Lady Friend, but me quite a bit, is a surprisingly a Canadian show called Motive. So we'd seen the previews for season 2 on TV, seen some of the commercials for it, the promos, and it looked really unique. Visually, like the framing, the lighting, and everything looked pretty cool. And decided to give it a shot, and I can't stress it enough. It's really worth checking out, and I mean it's very, very rare that I rave about some Canadian produced TV shows, because generally I'm not as crazy about them. But this one is something different. I mean, the characters are fantastic. The way that they frame the show, you start out each episode with a look at like a scenario, and then all of a sudden the camera focuses on one person and it says either the killer or the victim, and then it goes to the other scenario, and then finally does a freeze frame of one of them and then says the opposite. So right at the beginning of the episode, kind of like the old Columbo series, which you know who killed him, you know why, you know who died, but you don't know why. And then throughout the episodes, you get to see the details unfolding, and I find it really, really effective as far as like a storytelling technique. And then kind of on the outskirts almost are the police and their investigation and their interactions. And the other thing that's really, really cool is the interactions between the main characters, of who there are two main characters, and then, you know, kind of a secondary string of characters. The relationships seem very, very real. Some of the ways that they interact with each other seems very, very real, as far as little comments to each other, not going into too much detail about their personal life. Some things start to unfold, but this is their job, right? And they are friendly and friends with each other, but information grows over time. So even now into the second series, we're getting to find out some more information about the characters, which I find really fantastic, because one of the things about the cop shows and stuff is everybody's these real tight buddies, and everybody knows all the details about people's lives, and in this one they don't really. And even the investigative techniques, they don't follow a lot of the same tropes that some of these other shows do. Even the stuff in the second season, especially the stuff that's in like the box or whatever, the interview room, some of those scenes are fantastic, and they're literally 15, 20, 30 seconds long. I mean, there's obviously a variety where there's the questioning gets a little more, but some of the most effective ones are just these short little conversations, and the way that the characters play with each other, like the good guys versus the bad guys, is fantastic. So we found season 1, because we hadn't seen any episodes in season 1. So we found that, and we just finished watching that last night, the first 13 episodes of season 1. 13? 12? I think it was 13. And it was great. There was a few that were kind of not as good, but the overall theme of it is it's very noir tinged, and it's very like every single episode it seems like these people that are doing these bad things are just people that are making huge mistakes. They're just, instead of dealing with the scenario a certain way, they choose to deal with it another way. So it's good people just making these bad decisions, which is also interesting, because you're not dealing with like the stereotypical kind of like, you know, they're not trying to hunt down some mass murderer and serial killer or some big huge crime boss who's now going to get caught or something. It's just regular everyday people who are deep down, they're good people. Bad shit has happened to them. They made some poor choices, and they've headed down this road that leads them to their demise ultimately. So it's like a classic noir kind of framework. And the main female character, I mentioned Columbo before, very, very Columbo-like, in the way that especially when she kind of hones in on someone as the kind of primary suspect. Oh, one more thing. Just one more question for you. That sort of thing. You know how Columbo used to, just one more question, ma'am or sir. And then I guess that brings me to the last thing. The main, in my mind, the star of the show is a female character, and she's a female police officer, or a detective rather. She's a really strong female lead. She's not stereotypical. She looks rough around the edges, and I don't know whose decision that was. I'm assuming that was someone on the show. I think she maybe has a little bit of a rougher, aged look to her, period, which by no means is an insult. It really, really works. She's not polished. It all fits to her character. She's struggling to get by. She's got a son that she had raised on her own. She's got a car that cost her like $3,000 to buy used, kind of thing. She's just getting by, and it's great. The only character that bugs us to no end is the medical examiner, whose name I can't remember right now. But I don't like her character at all. But that is such a minor blip on a show that's been quality from the beginning. Again, there's been a few episodes that have been kind of misses, but there's been some mind-blowing stuff. So highly, highly recommend Motive. Canadian, surprisingly Canadian, Vancouver. Yeah, so that's that. What else have I seen? That was the one that really stuck. That's the one that I'm really kind of addicted to. It's literally, I'm waiting every week to see the next episode. I can't wait for the next episode in the second season. It's that impressive to me, and that says a lot because not much TV impresses me at all. So it's a really, really nice surprise. And just that it has kind of a darker tone to it, And I think that I remember Brubaker talking about it in a book at some point, because I do remember him talking about a couple of Canadian shows at some point. I can't remember if that was in Fatale or if that was, well, it would have had to have been, I guess, because if this is only in the second season, it must have been. I should look through the books again and maybe I can find it. So speaking of books, Comics America, the place that I freaked out on and lambasted on one of my videos last year sometime for doing the old bait and switch, finding some great back issues, bringing them up to the counter, and then being told that those aren't the prices on those issues, that the price was going to be higher, which led to me walking away and swearing I'd never go back. They've been having a 50% off the entire store. Everything in the store. Shirts, books, graphic novels, new issues, old issues, statues, toys, everything. That place is full of shit. But I avoided it. I didn't go because I'm like, forget it. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go support them. I really want to look around, but I ain't going to support them. So after them being around, apparently there's another viewer. Hello, viewer. I don't know if you're trying to type a comment. I see some changes going on, but I can't quite figure this thing out. Let's see if I refresh, and we'll see if anything comes up here. Sorry, I'll take a minute. Oh, hey. It looks like it's Damien. Hello, Damien. Hello, Mr. Sleepy Reader. How are you? But I avoided it. I didn't go. Oh, sorry. Let me mute that. I forgot that when I do that, it does that. Okay. So I decided to go and have a look. They'd had the sale for a little while now, and I figured with all the new issues that I'm behind on, if I can get them for 50% off and catch up and then maybe try out some things that I had wanted to try out, it's maybe worth it. So I ended up going back twice. The first time I went, I think it ended up being kind of $35. So what is that, like $70 worth of new comics for $35? And I made sure when I went in, I asked a couple of people. So even though it says it everywhere, so it's 50% off of everything in the store. Yes, yes, sir, everything in the store, 50% off everything. I'm like, back issues, new issues. Yes, I can see comments there. I can see. You say, can you see comments here also? And I am saying yes. Yes, I can. And then I double checked, does that include new issues? Because I didn't want to get into a situation of like spending some time in there, picking out a bunch of shit, and then going up and them saying, oh, well, the sale doesn't really include new issues or something like that. But no, it included everything, every last thing in the store. So I got a huge stack the first time, and then on Sunday after dropping off Mr. Tom at home, I went back because we were short, I think, two issues of the Fantastic Four. So now we've finished the FF and the Fantastic Four. We have them all bought, all 16 issues of each, I think it went to. So now we can finish that entire series reading that. I got for him the Marvel Knights X-Men, the last 3 issues we needed of that, and the Marvel Knights Spider-Man, the last 3 issues of that we needed. So those were kind of our ones that we really wanted to finish and read together. We both really liked X-Men so far, and Spider-Man, that Marvel Knights Spider-Man is pretty fantastic too. So let's talk about some of the things I got. The first one I wanted to talk about was one that I decided to try out, and honestly, if it wasn't 50% off, I don't know if I would have bought it. Obviously, I like the Daredevil universe, and I have nothing against Elektra. I just thought that it might not be something that I would really enjoy, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong. So it's I just read it this morning actually, and this kind of spawned it. So W. Hayden Blackman is the writer, and Michael Del Mundo is the artist. And the first thing is first, the art is amazing, really, really, really amazing. I don't know his name. It looks slightly familiar to me, but I mean, if anybody knows me at all, you know how great I am with names, and when it comes to memory and things, I sometimes lack in that category. But there's here while I do my there you go. While I do my tea drinking fingers there we go. Very cool story too. I really, really liked it. She wants to get away from New York, so she has come to terms with being just an assassin for hire. So she goes and gets a job, and is going to go and hunt down this assassin. And then we get introduced to another character with the greatest page. Like that's a hell of an introduction to a character, to another assassin right there. Mind-blowing. Another assassin that I hadn't heard of before. The Serpent, I guess his name is. And they are both hunting down some of the layouts and things really remind me of J.H. Williams. The use of kind of the paneling within an image where it makes sense, and just gives it a kind of different look, different breakup and flow of the page. I thought was fantastic, and I didn't have any problems following either, like I do sometimes with stuff that's a little bit all over the place. So his name is Cape Crow is the assassin that everybody's looking for now. So I read the whole thing, and then I got down to the last page, and Elektra jumps out of a ship. And if he's down there among the monsters, I will find him. Spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know. She next issue is something called Monster Island. That kind of worries me. I'll say that. It was strong the rest of the way through, and I hope that I'm wrong. But seeing that last image kind of worried me a little bit. As far as I hope it has a little more of a serious tone. I hope it doesn't get too silly and going down to Monster Island and stuff. But we'll see. I mean, I'm going to give it a chance. If it was the Savage Land, I would have been even more worried. But there you go. So pleasantly surprised. Really surprised that I liked it as much as I did, for sure. So Damien says 50% off is great for catching up, a bonus of having stayed away from comics for a while. Sounds great. It's true. I mean, I think that happened to you as well when you had that period of not buying, when you came back, you stumbled upon some great deals and things too to catch up. It was a great way to catch up because I could just completely fill up the stacks and find stuff, yeah, for half the price, which was beautifully done. So ended up, taking a break, saving money that way, and then coming back to it and even saving money. And then today I just read Fatale number 20 and 21, and it's definitely gearing up to be what I think is going to be a pretty spectacular wrap-up to the story. I really, really like these issues. It's a book that I always end up buying and reading, but honestly, for the most part, I feel, for me anyway, I feel it's one of Brubaker's weaker works. I still enjoy it. I still think it's enjoyable. It hasn't stuck with me to the same degree as like Criminal and Incognito and stuff like that stuck to me, or even Scene of the Crime, that first book that just got reprinted. But now, like, I read these two, and I really want to see what's coming up next. Like, I'm right back into it. Like, holy shit, what the hell's going to happen? Very, very impressive. And I guess by now it's old news, but to me it's a bit new news. I read about it a couple of weeks ago, but the deal that Brubaker and Phillips have made with Image is spectacular. The 5-year deal with Image to create whatever the hell they want to create, and then at the end of it have complete ownership over all of it, and something that's getting optioned. I guess that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck is sleeper, but he was saying that he doesn't know much details about it because they don't actually own it, because that's a Wildstorm thing, which makes sense to me now. I didn't realize it, but I guess everybody kind of gets screwed in a way when it comes to working for the big two. And I mean, it makes sense. I'm not surprised by it by any means. That's the way that it goes when you work for the companies. I assume is that you don't retain the creative control even over characters that you've created yourself, like you do at places like Image. So that'll be very cool. 5 years, whatever the hell they want to do. He's already talking that he's got some fantastic ideas. The one idea that he has for the book coming up sounds very interesting. The name of it I can't remember, but really excited to see what else he does. And then just to kind of quickly go through, so I managed to pick up a couple of Daredevils, the last one and the first one. I didn't pick up the issue 1.5. I should have. I don't know why I didn't. It was there. It just slipped through the cracks, I guess. So there you go. Those ones, I haven't read those yet. Lucky enough to have found Deadly Class number 1, 2, and 3, and not only that, but I believe these are first printings of them as well too. And they had a stack of these. That's the thing in this place, in this Comics America, he orders so many books, like so many new issues, but even though he just charges cover price just like everywhere else in the city for new issues, I just refuse to go there. And maybe it's the way it is with a lot of people, and that's probably why he had this, partially why he had the sale, because I mean there's only so much room for it. But he always ends up having stacks of books, so I was surprised to see so many. I expected maybe to see 1 or 2 issues if I was lucky, but he had a stack of at least 10 Deadly Class number 1s, and then probably double that of 2s and 3s, So I got the first 3 of those, which I'm really excited about after what I've been hearing from people, so that'll be very cool. Yet he says, Damien says he got the same kind of deal. Yeah, and almost made me think of waiting for sales all the time, but of course I can't wait. I had the exact same thought for about 15 seconds. Maybe I should just wait another 3 months and then go in and find another sale, but I haven't seen him do a 50% off sale partway through the year. Usually when it's a 50% off sale that he has there, it's on back issues and things. I think this is the first time I've ever seen that they've had a 50% off of new issues sales. And then since Brubaker wrote the original Winter Soldier, I wonder if he's hot in Hollywood right now. I don't doubt it. I mean, he's such a talented writer, period, and such a big name in comics. I think it's kind of hard to stay away from him, and especially once one thing gets optioned and people start tuning in Hollywood, the way things go, I imagine, is somebody starts tuning into something and everybody else kind of swarms around it, just like grunge music in Seattle, right? Like once one person kind of breaks, all of a sudden everybody wants to pick up what they can before it's too late. So I'm sure he's getting propositions for all sorts of offers across the board, and optioning a lot of his stories to possibly make into movies or TV shows. I'm really excited that Coward is going to be made into a movie. That'll be fantastic, and I wish him all the best. I mean, he's an incredible writer, and I hope he keeps pumping it all out, and I really hope that he's successful, and that they don't. Also, the other thing is that they don't completely fuck up his stories translating to movies or TVs. The other one I was glad to get was, speaking of Damian, Egos. So they had number 1, number 2, and number 3. So I picked all 3 of those up. The art is very, very cool. It's really a mix, hey, of... it's funny, from a distance, it seems really, really, I don't know, it reads to me one way, and then seeing it up close, I still really like it. The coloring in this, too, I really think is cool. I haven't read these yet, but it's just a really cool-looking book. So I'm excited about this as well. It was one that I was sorry that I missed the first issue on. The 1 or 2 times of the year that I actually look at previews and see what's coming up. When I saw this, it appealed to me right away, and it was mostly with that cover on issue number 1. So I'm excited about that. Even though I was disappointed in issue 2, I did pick up number 3, number 4, and number 5 of Pretty Deadly. Because, hey, what the hell, 50% off, right? May as well give them a chance. And then I saw that I was behind on Prophet. I thought that it had ended with issue 40, because I know it's coming to an end right away. So I found 41, 42, and 43. Like I said, I don't know what number it's supposed to end on, but I know it's coming to a close pretty soon. He had only a couple of copies of the Richard Corben Premature Burial, which I've heard some people talk about, but wanted to get my hands on that. I like picking up Mr. Corben's one-shot work, so that was pretty slick. And then one that, again, I think, as is usually the way, I believe I heard Damien talking about this, Undertow. I got the variant covers because this guy, S. Roy, worked with Brennan Graham on Prophet. He did some of the interiors and covers in some of the Prophet issues. So that attracted me to this cover. And looking through it, it looks just batshit crazy. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. And I think that was pretty much it. You know, like I said, I have a stack of reading to do, so I haven't read too many of them. Oh, and I also picked up some Collider, Federal Bureau of Physics, to kind of catch me up on that. The one that I didn't pick up the rest of was Trillium. I do have some books at Galaxy, so I specifically left, that's the place I have my subscription. I specifically left out some because I want to make sure that they get their money. As much as it's like a 50% off deal at this place and they would completely understand, I feel kind of bad that they'd be holding on to some of these books for me, and then I would turn around and buy them cheap somewhere else and then leave them with these books. So there's a couple of books of Jaden's, like SpongeBob and things, and Adventure Time and Regular Show, so I'm going to buy them from Galaxy. And then the rest of the books that I have on hold there, I'm just going to buy from them to make sure that they kind of get their deal. So let's have a look here. It's weird. It mixes up the comments in this, which is strange. It doesn't kind of go in order. I'm still puzzling over Undertow and finding the color in it amazing. Yeah, the interiors looked spectacular to me as well. I think I remember you saying something like that about the story, that you weren't completely sold on it yet. But yeah, I mean, anybody else who doesn't know it, there's a look at the interiors there. Like I said, the cover definitely drew me to it, but once I opened it up, it was kind of pretty much a no-brainer for me to give it a shot. Really fantastic stuff. Some of the kind of crazy style that I end up liking. And goddamn, book smells good. Smells really hot off the presses and fresh. So there you go. Anything else to talk about? I don't think so. I will say I did get I got another job after time of kind of searching and things like that. I got another job. The downside of it is it ships me out for a month at a time. So this first time I go to, I think it's Estevan, Saskatchewan, which is kind of roughly a just under 6-hour drive from Winnipeg. And when I'm out there, it's 6 days of work and then 1 day off. And they're kind of 10-hour days. And it's assembling holding tanks for various things, like be it a small town that needs like a water tank. A friend of mine is going to Alberta to build holding tanks for frack sand, which is a bit scary. So they deal with all sorts of holding tanks, and they have work all over Canada, basically. They're trying to expand into the United States and kind of expand throughout North America, but for now it's just Canada. Because film work is kind of on the decline, there's not been many rumors of work, so it was kind of, I need to get something else. So I'm going to give it a try and see how it goes. I'm supposed to ship out, I guess. My tour starts at the end of May for a month, so I'll be around until then, but then I'll be completely off the face of the internet for about a month. So yeah, like I said, not super crazy the idea of going away, especially with Miss Weens there, Lillian, and the house and everything, but it's got to be done, so it sounds like simple enough work too, and fairly good pay. So yeah, we'll give it a try. And I guess that's about it. Not much else going on in my world except for some shows. I'm going to go and watch some Cracker and soak in that Robbie Coltrane goodness. And oh, another one that I downloaded was called The Quiet Earth, and that kind of goes with the eco-horror theme that I had the last time. I'd seen it on a few lists of kind of top 10 ecological horror movies. So if you do find it, The Quiet Earth, I'd say give it a shot. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited to see that one as well. And it looks like, as I said in the last video too, a lot of the movies I talked about, they show up, they're on YouTube, so you can watch them on YouTube, like Hellstrom Chronicles and Phase 4 and things like that. Big Shot Comics also mentioned one that I was going to talk about called No Blade of Grass. I was going to talk about it. It was sitting in the stack beside me, but it was kind of a weaker entry in my mind in that whole eco-horror thing, so I wanted to stick with kind of the ones that really I thought were fantastic. By all means, check it out, but I didn't think it was mind-blowing. So thank you very much for watching, Damien, and anybody else who might have been off and on. I saw the numbers jumping here and there, 3 and 4 and that sort of thing. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll have a quick look at the comments here, and then we will sign off. Let me make sure I mute that sucker so you don't got to hear that voice doubling. Yeah, no, that's it. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon, eh? Okay.